what's up, guys? This is Robert with True Crime Podcast, and I have with me a guest tonight who is a guilter in the Brian Kohberger case, the Sceptical Scotsman. His name is Carl. Introduce everyone to the crowd, Mr. Guilter himself.
You can call it guilter, you can call it being a skeptical person, you can call it being somebody who's interested in the facts and not conspiracy theories. I was actually kind of enjoying the rock and roll music on that intro. That was banging. I was sitting there banging my head to it. But yeah, as far as this goes, the last case, in case any of you are wondering if I have any background in the true crime community, I covered the Chauvin trial, the Derek Chauvin trial, and I got almost no views on that because everybody was against him, and I wasn't totally against him. And after that, I started doing other stuff and then working. So it's not the fact that I'm not totally against Brian Kohberger. It's the fact that the premise of him being innocent based on what you believe you think he might have not done doesn't make a lot of sense, but let's start this shooting match.
Well, you and I, we've had discussions about this, and
several.
You agree that they shouldn't have torn the house down. It was a bad move on their part, correct?
Absolutely. They should not have torn the house down. It's already a psychological fact that if you go through, if you're a jury and you're led through a crime scene, the original crime scene, and it's left, I mean, they can clean everything up and whatnot, but when you walk through it, you get a tactile feel, you get these spatial awareness signalers in your brain. You take up, your brain starts digesting everything, and by them eliminating that, I don't give a crap if they rebuild the entire thing. It will never be the same as the house that was standing. It will never ever. They can't replace the creak in the stairs. They can't replace the way the house sounded when the wind blew.
But yeah,
right or wrong.
I mean, just like getting back, they want to. They did 3D scans of the house the same day as the unalivings, and they have 3D scans of the bodies in the house. They want to give the jurors VR goggles to take a tour of the house virtually instead of actually going into the house itself.
Okay, now, given you having just said that, we're gonna up that ante. Okay, let's say you went back to the BTK murders here in town. Would you accept if you were a jury member? Would you accept a VR experience instead of walking into a place where a murder had been committed, or would you want the actual atmosphere?
I would want the actual atmosphere, walking through the house, hearing the creaks and everything in the house. But the VR tour takes away from that.
Yes, it does. It takes away the tactile sensations and the spatial awareness that you need to have to walk. I don't give a shit how they scanned it. It's the fact that it's not the same damn thing as walking through. That's like buying crap online. I don't really enjoy buying stuff online, especially tools, because you don't know what they feel like. You don't know what they sound like. And that's part of the tactile experience of being a consumer, if you'll excuse the phrase. But I like having tactile experience to help me make a decision as far as that goes.
Yeah, and the prosecution and the defense both signed off on the house being torn down because
and it was still a mistake.
Yes, and I agree with you. It was still a mistake there. Well, you have the university, the U of I wanting it torn down because they said they wanted to start the healing process.
Because they want a bunch of Gen Zers to feel better about going back to college?
But here's the thing, though. With that, they're also building low-income student housing on that site.
And
shouldn't they wait to build it till this trial's over with? Just like you said before, they should have waited to tear that house down until after trial.
I don't see how building low-income housing right there, just because people died there, is a good way of repaying those people's lives back. It makes no sense. I mean, how many kids die in school shootings every year here?
Quite a few.
And do they tear? If somebody went in their house and decided they couldn't live there anymore because their child died, would you level the entire house just because their kid was shot somewhere else?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, because because that's where the person died at.
Well, if they died in a different location and their parent can't stand to be in the house anymore because there's too many memories, should the house be bulldozed because that parent has too many good memories of that child that are painful for the parent?
Well, I see where you come from right there. Yeah, if the child died in the house, I could understand them tearing the house down. If the child didn't die in the house, I couldn't see them tearing the house down.
The same logical principle follows on both sets of examples, though.
Yeah, and like I wanted to get your take on this. You have 4 victims' families, right?
Yeah.
The Gonzalez family was the only family that didn't go to the scene that day of the unalivings. You had the Chapins who went to the scene.
Now, can I interrupt you for like just 2 seconds here?
Yeah.
Why are you specifically calling them unalivings?
Because you can't say murders on YouTube.
Really, I hear it all the time.
I call it unalivings. Is more of a desensitized, basically. But I mean, you have the.
I'm just wondering why you were calling it unaliving versus just they were murdered or killed. I mean, it doesn't matter how sensitive somebody is to a subject. Life doesn't change the fact that they were murdered or killed, right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to change your language. I'm just asking the reason behind the wording.
Yeah, you have the Gonzalez family, who didn't go to the crime scene that day. Where you had the Canrodals who went, you had the Chapins who went. I'm not sure about the Mogans, but the Gonzalez family sat on their butt all day watching football, and they were getting calls and texts that something had happened to their daughter, something bad had happened to their daughter, but they didn't go to the scene. They waited until the sheriff came to their house later on that evening.
They lived in Idaho too?
Yes. They lived about 2 hours away from the house.
What sporting team were they watching?
They were honestly, they're watching football. I
know, but still, what teams were they watching?
I'm not sure what teams that they were watching. The dad said it was a Sunday tradition that they would sit down and watch football.
Yeah, and there are some families that don't answer shit until that football game is over.
But still, I mean, the mom was getting calls and texts that something had happened to their daughter. One of the cousins said that Kaylee was at a party and she was shot. And then all these calls coming in to the mom stating that something had happened to their daughter.
Okay.
Me being a parent, I would have got up and went to find out exactly what was going on.
Okay, let's take that and flip it on its side and use a different context and see if you still agree with that. Excuse me. It's Christmas morning. Your daughter is opening gifts, and you're watching her open everything, and you're loving it. You're recording it and crap, and your phone just starts blowing up from people sending you messages. Do you look at those messages, or do you concentrate on your daughter's Christmas?
I concentrate on my daughter's Christmas.
You ignore everything else, right?
Yeah.
Like if somebody told you that the SWAT team is about to break in your house, you ignore that shit. You're watching your kid right there, right?
Yeah.
For some families and their sports teams, they watch religiously. They don't answer their phones. Do you see where that mindset is now?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, if I'm watching my team play on the off chance they do, I normally don't respond to phone calls, text, as you well know. If my game's on, you're just kind of screwed. If somebody tried texting me that one of my kids was dead, I wouldn't know about it till after the game because I wouldn't be going online. It's halftime is for getting snacks and getting some more drinks and going to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So can you understand where they might be from that perspective? Your
Yeah.
wife keeps moving around in the background, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Tinker had a puppy about 8 weeks ago.
Boy, that's why you get your animals fixed. Okay. Next thing you want to bring?
Showing the puppy.
No, not right now.
Yeah, not right now. We're in a live stream.
Yeah, not right now. We're in the live stream, honey. Okay, go.
She is going to have any active surgery.
Okay.
Is that bad?
Okay, go.
Another time, perhaps,
Another
just
time,
not right now. See, I
Now,
can
how
be
do you-
respectful.
now, how do you feel about Brian wearing suits in the court hearings?
Well, do you want the YouTube-friendly version or not?
Give me both.
Okay, the YouTube-friendly version is, I'd really appreciate if he'd stop wearing regular clothes like he's not in prison or jail, and him not having a reaction to anything other than him getting a death row certified lawyer and not reacting to anything else screams sociopath. The unfriendly version is, why the fuck is that motherfucker allowed to wear a suit? Is his lawyer giving him a blowjob? I understand she's trying to make him seem a little more sympathetic and regular. Making him wear a suit when he's in jail is just like having OJ wearing a suit during his trial. And why would he, another question I would raise to you, if we're going to up the ante on this, is for most people would be happy with a lawyer who's decent. He asked for a death row certified attorney. Why would he need one?
Why wouldn't he need a what? Death row certified attorney? Death penalty certified attorney?
Yes. Why would he need one?
Because the death penalty was put on the table day one that he was arrested. When he went to his first court hearing.
If he's innocent, as a bunch of conspiracy theorists are buying into, and he's so innocent, then how they managed to genetically link him up to the blood that was found on the knife sheath, and then on top of that,
There wasn't no blood found on the knife sheath, though. There was one
Actually, there
molecule
was.
of touch DNA.
No, there was more than a molecule of DNA. There was enough to make a genetic match or genetic similarity match to Kohberger.
See, they got that though, from taking the trash out from in front of his parents' house, and they used that to match him to his dad's DNA.
You're not making a damn bit of sense. They found a spot of blood on a knife sheath at the crime scene. Yes?
No, they found touch DNA on the button snap. One molecule of touch DNA on the button snap.
You're not making any sense.
I'm just going by the PCA. The PCA states they found they found touch DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath.
According to the official record, and I've seen actual photos of it. There is a very thin droplet of blood on the snap of a knife sheath at the scene of the crime. Now, if they went to Kohberger's house, as they tracked it down to Kohberger and swabbed his sweat from wearing gloves, and they matched it, how wouldn't that just scream, I'm guilty as shit? And I understand that the defense has tried to subpoena the DNA test results, but when there's only literally enough stuff to use for one DNA test, what are you going to do? Ask a mystery ghost or make him admit that he did it to get more DNA from him to compare it to the sample they got? I mean, you're pointing out these half truths in evidence that are red herrings as far as physical evidence. You saying they found a single molecule of contact, whatever.
Touch DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath.
And you're buying in that why? They found one molecule, and you're gonna buy that narrative?
It's in the PCA. It states it in the probable cause affidavit.
And who was the probable cause affidavit filled out by?
Brett Payne.
Was that for the defense or the prosecution?
No, that was the lead detective that filled out the probable cause affidavit was Brett Payne, and that's where they got the.
So then why was a knife sheath? Why was a police evidence police photo from evidentiary photo from the crime scene taken of a knife sheath with a thin drop of blood on it?
Like I said, according to the PCA, which was the probable cause affidavit brought up by...
You're stammering on that. I'm asking why would they show a photo of that?
I didn't see a drop of blood on the knife sheath.
Okay, now I'm assuming you have comments on there like drizzling all over the place in the live chat. I don't know. I don't have that. I'm not paying attention to it. How many people saw that photo on the news? I saw it.
Now, which news did you see it on? Did you see it on Nancy Grace?
I've watched like bits and pieces of Nancy Grace from like 15 years ago. Honestly, when I hear Nancy Grace, it's like nails running down a chalkboard while listening to yodeling in Japanese. It's torture. And like you mentioned, that other lady, and
Ashley Banfield.
I'm still wondering who the hell that is.
You've heard of News Nation. You've heard of News Nation, right?
Yes, I remember when it started up. It was a free app, and now you have to pay for it. That was before she worked there. Banfield was the name of a certain guy's program, and then apparently he let his wife take over or some crap. But I was with it when it was free, and then when they started charging for it, I left because I'm not paying to hear one-sided newscasting that claims to be neutral. Kind of like Dr. Phil now.
Well, you got one person in chat that agrees with you. One of my mods, Swamp Rose, agreed with the statement. One of the statements that you made.
Ah, well, I'm glad. I just don't know which statement that was, so I can't elucidate on that more. I'm not pandering to a crowd. I'm just saying I'd like to know if possible.
Yeah, I do. I do have a statement by Jeff H. Most newscasts have some bias. They tried their best not to. The
news that I usually watch in the morning, I don't know how late most of you stay up, but or early you get up. But I wake up and I watch the Today Show, formerly with Hoda Kotb and Savannah Guthrie's, and I don't listen to every story they have to say or listen to everything they have to say. I pay attention to the meat and potatoes, the facts, the numbers. That's it. All the hyperbole, I throw that crap out of my brain. You can ask Robert. I literally do that.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, like, I'm weird. I will know. I will. How many times? How many times have I knocked out a case and been right about it, just going by the flat fact and the times?
Quite a few.
Yeah, it's not hard. The evidence and the facts don't lie, even if people do. You can't hide that. But
That's,
yeah,
I do have one thing to say. If if you're saying Brian's guilty in all this, then
yeah.
why would they let him drive 2,500 miles from Pullman, Washington, to his home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania?
They hadn't identified him as a suspect yet. That's why. They hadn't identified him as a suspect yet. It was what? It was a month before they fully identified the blood drop on the snap button of the knife sheath. It was a month before they discovered that, and then it was a week after that they hauled in Kohberger. Yes, I did some light reading before this, catching up on some crap because I'm not a part of the true crime community. I don't follow this case with rabid fascination and everything.
But now, see, here's the thing, though. We've never seen pictures of a blood drop on the
Hold on, I
knife
gotta
sheath.
mute you for a second. Okay, sorry, I had daddy duty to do.
Now we've never seen pictures of this alleged blood drop on the knife sheath.
Really, is that what everybody is agreeing with you on in the chat? I can't see the chat, so I don't know.
Now we've all heard of the single source DNA that was found on the button snap on the knife sheath, and that was in the probable cause affidavit, which was done by the lead investigator Brett Payne, who also questioned
Okay,
Dylan
now
Morrison.
there are
Let me finish.
hold on, there are 10 other websites. You apparently, you and your podcasting family of true crime people have not apparently looked up, because all of them list a single thin blood drop on the snap of a knife sheath. All of them list that one damn thing. And yet, apparently, the true crime community has ignored that completely. So is it willful ignorance, or you guys just not paying attention?
A lot of us have been going by what has been brought to us by the PCA, stating that there was a single source of DNA found on the button snap of the knife sheath, and with this gag order in place, we really don't know exactly, how much is in this case because of that freaking gag order.
Here's a bizarre question for your crowd, for your community. How many of them watch the morning news? Okay. And then, what morning news show do they watch? The DNA test results have not been publicly released, but the picture of the knife sheath in question, was actually on the news. Just so you know, I saw it with my own eyes, and I've got a few friends, and they're like, "Wow, that is all I watch."
All that I
What,
watched.
1,000,000,000% only the news? Yeah, that depends on the news source, though. I mean, it really does matter what news source. If you're watching RT News, then you're watching bullshit news, right?
Yep.
We can both agree on that one point. RT News is fake news. Wow, some of your people are just amazing. Might I remind you that I'm not following this case as intimately and as mindlessly as some of those viewing this podcast now are. I keep up with rough updates. I watch them. I watch the morning show, and when I saw the knife sheath, I did some digging and found 10 other websites that list it. If you can't find it, you're not looking. Like I say on my own podcast, Robert, what do you have to do to find out what I'm talking about?
You need to dig.
All you have to do is look it up, right?
Yeah.
And 95% of the time, what can you do if you just type it in?
You find it.
Exactly. It's not like the stuff I'm saying is impossible to find. If you're not looking in the right place, you're not going to find it. If you're looking to confirm your own bias, you're not going to find it. I didn't have a bias on this case at all. And then when they matched that little thin drop of blood on the snap of the knife sheath, and then I went ahead and dug a little deeper into it. It's like, okay, now I know what's good. So I'm good. Bye. I'm done. If they match it up with him, which they did, then it's pretty much an open and shut case. Now everybody's imagining these weird deep state things with the FBI. Yeah, I'd say get out of your basement or get off your computer, stop watching the news, get outside and go pick an apple. Go breathe some fresh air that's not conditioned by a machine. I mean, you can only be a browbeater for so long before you need to do something else. If all you're doing is watching the news all day long, and even I tell you that too, do I not?
Yes.
It's not uncommon for me to tell you to unhook from the news, go outside, breathe, maybe get some exercise. I exercise all day long with my job, so it's not like I need the exercise anymore.
Now, see, here's the thing, though. Like I discussed with you earlier, the whole freaking GoFundMe by the Gonzalez family for the 10 relatives. Why do they need the GoFundMe if they're getting all this stuff for free? You know, free lodging around Boise, free gas, free food, gift cards. Why do they need that freaking GoFundMe? Which is now at $49,000, and they've raised it to $75,000.
Why does Kohberger need to wear a suit? Yahtzee. He doesn't need to wear a suit. He can wear a prison jumpsuit. Now, here's another throw out for you. I mean, I think it's great. People love giving him stuff, but for all the mouth breathers who don't understand why people give to the family when everything's already been given to them for free because they're sympathetic to their plight, Kohberger is being allowed to wear suits that his lawyer brings him. Okay, now here's another weird tangent for you. his lawyer, Kohberger's lawyer, didn't need 2 years to go over all the shit all the shit in the case, right? A decent lawyer would have taken maybe a year, right? A great lawyer would have taken a year and a half and showboated that motherfucker and made sure it was televised by somebody, right?
I mean, with all the
I'm not done yet. I'm not
Okay.
done yet. Instead of her being a great lawyer, she drags her knuckles on the asphalt driveway for 2 fucking years, long enough for the jury pool to supposedly be tainted, so that they have to have a change of venue and change the judge because she's burnt them out. Because all she wants to do is delay. She wants to let it go for so long that they have no choice but to let him go because everybody's tainted. It doesn't help that one guy, Kohberger, looks like the psychopath from SVU that was messing with Olivia Benson. I find that a little strange. They managed to find the one guy who looked just like him, and he's a psychopath. Like, did you read the report of his activity right before the murders?
No.
He had an assistant teaching job at a university, right? I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you guys have covered that at length. Do you know why he lost it?
No, I don't know why he lost it.
Does anybody else in your community know this? I literally read this like an hour ago. Does anybody know why he lost that job as a teaching assistant?
Not that I know of.
No, I'm asking your commenting, your chatter.
Anybody in the chat, does anybody in the chat know why BK lost his job as a teaching assistant? I have a question. Where did you read this? Reddit?
Where did I read what?
About the him being let go from his job.
I was reading, let's see, Wikipedia. I read something on some weird news site that I've never heard of because I was busy trying to accumulate data. I think they covered something on Politico about it. MSNBC, which I really don't count as a valid news source right at this point. I also read it on NBC News. And what's the other one? I'm trying to remember it. I can't remember the name of the other one, but it's like they were being so just brutally fact-based that it was insane. Okay. Does anybody have a good answer yet?
Hold on, I'm checking. Okay, Jeff, reports indicate that Kohberger had multiple meetings with university officials regarding his behavior. He was placed on an improvement plan, but failed to adhere to the expectations set forth.
Oh, okay. Would you love to know what that's short for?
And here's another one. He lost his job because he called the psychic hotline, and they told him the skeptical Scotsman would know why he got fired.
That I like. Okay, that person gets a brownie point from me. That was fucking inventive right there. That was like, damn. Put the stank on that slap. Okay, now would you like to hear the actual answer and not the trumped up one that they've invented?
Yes.
Because he was displaying antisocial behavior and being demeaning to females. They let him go for that. Like they tried to warn him, he didn't improve, he actually worsened, and that's why they fired him from that position.
We have another one. Brian was not separated from WSU until mid-January 2023. So he wasn't fired until after his arrest.
You can believe whatever you want. You can follow whatever news source you want. I tend to follow unbiased, just fact-based news. And I don't like nobody has given me any news programs that they watch. For that one person who said they watch the news all the time, well, what news do you watch? What channels do you watch? What commentators do you watch that are on the news? That actually does matter, because if you're just watching News Nation, that can be lopsided. If you're watching Fox, CNN, C-SPAN, or anything like that, it's fucking lopsided as shit. Thinking, what way is that? Ow. That he was demeaning to women? I mean, I'm interested in that comment.
That everyone thinks that Brian is guilty because in the judicial system he's innocent until proven guilty. Well, the media is making him guilty until proven innocent.
Now, we talked about this when you first started talking about the Moscow, Idaho case, right?
Yes.
Now, did I have an opinion? When it first started out, we talked for hours on this. Did I have an opinion?
At first, no, you didn't have an opinion.
I didn't have any side at all, did I? I was completely chill. Let's see. Right, you do your own research and we read court documents and watch the hearings. Right. Sure. Go ahead. You can spew that all you want.
LA's want to know your channel because she may just subscribe to you.
The Sceptical Scotsman. That's literally the thing on it. I wasn't able to read the last message that popped up and went away before I could read it.
Wanda wants to know, why would he leave his shit in his apartment and go to Pennsylvania if he was fired?
Because he had transferred, from what I understand.
Actually, no, he was just leaving on Christmas break.
He transferred to a college that was closer to, that was like what?
Now,
a few miles away from Moscow, Idaho?
Yeah, he came from Pennsylvania. He was a graduate of DeSales University there in Pennsylvania. He went to WSU of Pullman under a PhD for criminology. And when he left on December 15th, he was leaving for Christmas break. His dad drove cross country with him.
Okay, that doesn't explain that at all. It just sounds like a conspiracy theorist information trail right there. Oh, some of these comments are outrageous and funny and uplifting and bizarre. I'll give you that, crowd. Now, mind you, since I'm not in the true crime community, I'm not going to have all the answers. What I do have is a little bit of skepticism towards slanted information, and that's what I specialize in, is it not, Robert?
Yes.
I specialize in non-slanted information, and I present it in literally a flat. I can summarize it with that non-slant. So it can be, yes. The PCA can be false information. Jesus, some of these comments. Notice that have you noticed that nobody has actually answered my question?
And what question was that?
What news source are you watching? If you're watching the news, What news sources are you watching? What anchors are you watching? Nobody answered that one. I can still remember that. Nobody's really answered that question. Everybody's, well, we do our own research. And I do. Okay, but if you're coming up with a false narrative about him being innocent because you think the government's trying to, why the hell would the government frame a guy who is antisocial? I mean, what do you think this is? The story of Robert Jewell? If anybody knows who the fuck that is, I will give you a brownie point.
Swamp did answer your question. She watches Fox and Friends and Fox News.
Okay, she realized it's been most of the Fox commentary has been discredited. I don't even buy them as a viable news source. Like 1 out of every 1,000 stories they tell has something pertinent in it that just might hold water. Keep on preaching it, you might believe it. And I'm not trying to be an ass, I'm really not, but if all you're doing is going over this case and poring over, I mean, what's the deal with everybody poring over this case in every legal document? And if you're going over this document and saying that he's innocent and all this other crap, why aren't you a lawyer? I mean, right or wrong? If you understand what all these court documents say when shit's written in what, Latin? Half the court documents with legal proceedings in them are going to be written in Latin. If you can read Latin that well and you still believe he's innocent after reading pages and reams of information, why don't you take the bar and pass the damn exam yourself?
Robert with True Crime Podcast, please ask him if he knows if BK was in a union while a teacher's assistant at WSU.
To my understanding, he was not. Because from what I understand, teachers' unions do not apply to his position.
Okay, Twizzle Stick. Court document is official info. Unverified news stories aren't even going to be in the case.
And yet you all believe he's innocent, even though they have DNA pointing to him. These are only fast observations, people. Come on. You spent months doing this. I'm spending minutes doing this. Like, how many of you dedicate more than 10 hours of this to a day to your life? I dedicate like 5 minutes of my morning to it. That's about it. And yet everybody still rambles the same old crap that everybody else is spewing. If there's an actual relevant update, yeah, I'll listen to you. But for the most part, everybody's trying to be the first one to report blah, 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 blah. And 10,000 other podcasters are doing the same damn thing. You're trying to be the first one to report. And yeah, I know you and your fellow mouth breeders have a difficulty understanding what, going out and working is, but that's a whole new episode of what the fuck and holy hell.
Now, why do you call us mouth breathers for? That's kind of a derogatory term towards...
It's meant to be a derogatory statement because I actually have a life. I don't just sit on the internet scoping shit out and watching the news all day hoping to get something from my podcast. Like when I do a podcast now, I want it to matter, not just going over the same bullshit that 10,000 other podcasters are going over to hopefully build up a following of people who are too dumb to turn away from you. Like there are some podcasts that I enjoy to deal with true crime. Not many, because I really don't like it. But like I like Mr. Ballin on YouTube. That's fucking amazing. I love that guy. But as far as like the normal true crime podcasts, I can't stand them because everybody's covering the exact same damn thing.
Okay, well, have you had a chance to look into like the Sebastian Rogers case or the Delphi case? Sebastian Rogers, that's a case all in its own. 15-year-old autistic boy goes missing out of his home after 10 p.m. Uh, and the mother uh, claims that she don't know where he's at.
And a lot of the cases that you yourself have said you enjoyed ended up being hoaxes, did they not?
Yeah, well, this one's
Not
not a
all of them. I didn't say all of them. I just said some of the stories you've had interest in ended up being hoaxes, and I've had to show you that they were hoaxes, did I not?
yeah.
We're talking a small sample of the stuff you like, not everything, so don't say I'm making it out to be you're a nut job. You're not a nut job at all.
They want an intelligent debate, bro.
I was hoping for intelligent commentary. Literally, I have not received very much intelligent commentary. It's we read court documents and keep up with the case all day. You're not his lawyer.
Now, what makes you?
You're not a lawyer. You're not licensed to be a lawyer. If you're that invested in the case, why aren't you taking him on as a client? Because you're not a lawyer. And
Now,
most of you spend too much time following this.
now, what makes you think that his lawyer has drug her feet for the last 2 years? Mind you, the prosecution in this case has done the same damn thing. They have not turned over all the discovery evidence. She's at her 17th motion of discovery. So far, all they've turned over is 51 terabytes of data and then 389 megabytes of data. That's it. So how did she drag her feet for 2 years when the prosecution's been doing the same thing?
How's the prosecution been dragging their heels when they're the one asking for a trial date?
The prosecution's not wanting to turn over the discovery.
I think y'all pay attention to the wrong things. I get the fact that evidence, if there is any and there's enough to be shared, should be shared. But you're also talking about one guy who allegedly murdered 4 college students. Would you release any fucking information that people can use, knowing that lawyer is probably going to leak as much information as she can to the underground, like your true crime aficionados in the peanut gallery at this point?
Well, see,
one of them gets the information. The next thing you know, you've got 500 people making a podcast off of secondhand hearsay based on something that was leaked on accident that the lawyer didn't know about, right?
Well, just like this comment right here, Anne gets the blame for the state. Easy for men to trample on a woman.
Easy for a man to trample on a woman. My God, you must have been abused as a child. Or you were married or dated somebody who was abusive. I love those tropes. They're awesome, but they serve no purpose in this case. They don't. And yes, I was hoping for intelligent commentary, but all I'm getting is the same mouth-breathing bullshit from a bunch of podcasters who spend all their time delving into this case and not enough time living life and doing other things. I went to the Ren Fair this last weekend. That's all it is. It was awesome. I didn't have time to make a retort video to any more taunting because I was busy living life. And if you don't like the fact that I'm living my life, I'm not... Well, you shouldn't comment if you're not well read on the case. Do I get paid $20 an hour to fucking read court documents? No. Am I sleeping with him? No. Am I his lawyer? No. So why do I give a shit? Y'all want me to do my own research? I've done my own research. Y'all jumped on the bandwagon after I'd already done some research. And now he's innocent. Where is even the slightest shred of proof of innocence with his DNA on the fucking scene?
For all we know, that DNA could have been planted.
Oh, sure. They really wanted to catch this guy anonymously from nowhere and plant a drop of blood of his DNA on a snap of a knife sheath and somehow mysteriously leak it out. That way they could find just his lonely, angst-ridden, anti-woman ass? I don't think so. You're reaching a little too far up the horse's ass for that.
We don't know if he's anti-woman.
It's that
mainstream media. Is that mainstream media narrative that he's anti-woman?
And you're saying he's innocent is a conspiracy theorist narrative. What evidence points to the fact that he's innocent? What evidence points to that fact? That's what I want to hear from you.
The fact that is we haven't seen the evidence. So if we haven't seen the evidence, there is no evidence. And just like the
despite the timeline, the location, the DNA, and his disdain for most women, with the exception of a lawyer, let's forget all that shit and just say he's innocent because you think he is, right? All of the evidence that we know about right now points to him being a killer. All of it. Like I read up on the timeline, he had plenty of time to do what he did. He had plenty of time to commit those murders and still get the hell out of there. If he's anywhere near as intelligent as what he was supposed to be in college, then those murders would have taken how long to perform? A few minutes, maybe?
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain the 8-hour freaking gap in from the time of the murders to the time that 911 was called. Explain that. Explain the 8-hour gap.
You're expecting me to explain something, to try to explain away an incident that I wasn't there for, and nobody has offered a genuine explanation for that. It could have been that they passed the fuck out because they were too drunk to call.
Then why did they call over why did they call over their sorority friends and their fraternity friends before they called the cops?
I don't know. Why did Kohberger hire a death row certified lawyer?
No, what'd you say?
Oh, I'm sure the chatter is going insane. I'm sure it's going insane right now.
Now repeat that last comment about the 8-hour delay.
When you explain to me why he needs a death row certified attorney, I'll figure out the 8-hour time delay.
Well, he didn't.
What
hire
I was saying.
her. She was appointed by the court. He didn't hire her. She was appointed.
And do you know why she was appointed?
She's a public defender. She's the head public defender there.
No. He requested a death row certified attorney.
Yeah, death penalty certified because.
And who asks for something that anally fucking specific? The silence is deafening. Listen to that roar.
No, she was appointed by the court because the prosecutor brought the death penalty onto the table.
And then what did he do? What did he do when that was announced?
He's when they asked him if he pled not guilty or guilty.
No,
he stood there
when
silent.
they put the death penalty on the fucking when they put the death penalty in the purview as punishment, what did he do?
Nothing.
What kind of hashish are you smoking? He's the one that requested a death row certified attorney.
No, he's not.
Yes, that's what he requested.
No,
It says so in the court documents. Anybody who says he didn't is clearly not reading them as well as they thought, or they just have a hard on. I don't know which one it is. He requested a death row certified attorney.
Kohberger had a court-appointed a lawyer, which was Ann Taylor.
What about the two lawyers he fired before then because he thought they were incompetent, and then he asked for a death row certified attorney, which was her because she was the only one they had.
She was appointed to him before he was even back in Idaho.
Nope.
You're talking in Pennsylvania.
Y'all can say whatever the hell you want. I was watching the news. I paid attention to it. He went through two lawyers, and then he asked for a death row certified attorney. Y'all can read into that whatever the hell you want. I'm just telling you what was requested. And they literally showed video of him requesting that in the courtroom. The audio was there. If you don't know about that, then you're not as involved in this case as you thought because you're ignoring other things. Just like your conspiracy theorist channel nonsense is working for you. Do you listen to Alex Jones, buddy?
What vid are you talking about, Twizzle?
I mean, all these people who are fucking legal experts in legalese, why the hell aren't they lawyers? Why are they just true crime podcasters? If they're that damn good, why don't they have an why don't they have a lawyer's office? Yes. Podcasters of YouTube law firm. It might work, I don't know.
Twizzle Stick says, what are you an expert of?
Truth, facts, and calling on people on their bullshit.
Which vid, Swamp Rose? She's wanting me to show a video.
Show a video of what?
Wanda Woman, which video? Twizzle Stick. Okay, so you aren't an expert in anything.
Is Twizzle an expert in any fucking thing?
He lives right there in Pullman. He lives right by the apartment building where BK was arrested. Where BK was living at.
And that makes him an expert at what? Stretching his neck to look out his fucking window while Kohberger throwing out his trash?
He was throwing out his trash in Pennsylvania, not in Pullman, Washington.
You're still not. What are you an expert in, Twizzle? Reading court documents, following up on cases you'll never have a thing to do with as long as you live, or what?
He says, better than jerking myself off to the news.
Wow, I never thought of jacking off the news. I might try that tomorrow morning. I just might. That's actually a pretty interesting idea. I might actually do that.
But, you on the outside of this community looking in.
Yeah.
When it comes to this case and other cases, and you see us commenting on the cases and everything else.
Yeah.
What is your initial interpretation from from the outside looking in, you being an outsider.
Okay, repeat that. I had something squealing in here.
I said, you being an outsider of the true crime community, and you see it. You see us doing content on these cases and commenting on these cases. As an outsider, what is your first initial view of our community?
I think, and that depends on how brutally honest you want me to be, and how much your viewers can take of me being brutally honest.
Can you guys in the chat handle this guy being brutally honest?
And I mean, like, brutally goddamn honest to the point of probably making a few of you cry.
I doubt you can make him cry.
That's what she said.
They're saying yes.
Okay. Being brutally, and I mean dead on honest, you have podcasts. You do true crime. Do you cover anything of actual substance? You're there to report what's going on, not to draw a conclusion based on that. When you have the facts of the case, then you draw a conclusion. If you don't have all the facts of the case, then you're drawing a huge conclusion. That's why when I hit a certain point, I can draw an educated judgment based on what I know. Like with the Derek Chauvin case, a lot of podcasters that I knew back then were calling him guilty. They were saying he went there with the intention of killing George Floyd. Clearly, he did not want to kill George Floyd. And we've had fucking months of debate about that, have we not, Robert?
Yes.
And my explanation of it was very simple. And the outcome I wanted didn't happen, but the outcome I wanted was blind justice. It was beautiful, it was quick, it was short, and it satisfied everybody but the people who think that an innocent black man was killed. I didn't have a narrative, all I had was the facts, right?
Yeah.
And I covered that trial. Nobody watched that fucking series from me at all. Like, I think you were like the only person who watched the entire series during the Chauvin trial.
Yeah.
And if not for the fact that people were leaked information about the jury, I think we would have come to the same conclusion I did about how the case should have ended, right?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, podcasters nowadays jumping on like the Moscow, Idaho murders and any murder that's come up recently is y'all pander to a crowd that's dying to know shit they don't need to know, shit you're not qualified to tell, and interpreting it in a way that is completely bogus and more like watching a sensationalist report on Fox News. You're fucking jumping to conclusions based on limited evidence, and you're slanting it so that it meets the needs of your viewership, which is, I get why you do it, but it's still wrong. Like, I don't cover true crime because of that. Because somebody make a dumbass comment about, well, I know the truth. If you know the truth, like so many fucking Republican voters, why don't you turn the evidence in? Because it doesn't exist like that. And too many podcasters jumping and talking about the same boring fucking talking points ad litem, ad nauseum, for months does not make you a podcaster. That means you're just running your fucking mouth and letting air escape while you're doing it. If you were actually reporting it, you would only report when there's something to report. And a lot of you will say, well, I'm a real researcher. If you're a real researcher, then what are you getting paid to research? Who's paying you to research these cases? Like when I was doing my own research into cases that I was interested in, I was doing that because I was watching my kid all the time. COVID shut everything down. I was going through all the crap on my own, and I actually came really close to several things. What is my channel about? What is my channel about, Robert? Everything and anything. I have covered fucking UFOs, and I think I covered Bigfoot at one point. Did I not?
Yeah.
I've literally covered everything. I mainly cover politics on my Sceptical Scotsman channel because that's what everybody loves. I didn't read that last comment from Twizzle or whatever. Yes, it's possible to be passionate about something without being paid for it, but if your narrative is, well, he's innocent because of blah, 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 and it all ends up panning out into a fart in the wind, doesn't make sense. I don't care that I got many viewers. I went through COVID speaking the truth, and I had, 13 subscribers during all of COVID shutdown? 13?
Jeff H. Robert, tell us where you found this guy. Was he the guy checking your receipt as you were leaving Walmart?
No, actually, when I was working at Walmart, he wasn't around. Thank you very much. Yes, I did work at Walmart. Not as a people greeter. You can keep your receipt and shove it up your ass.
You're telling me that we are podcasting wrong, so I will definitely go see how it is done.
Well, it might help considering half of you don't do proper research. Like on my channel, what do I say constantly when I cover a certain subject that's been covered a billion times? What do I tell you as a viewer to do, Robert?
Like and comment?
No, I tell you to look up these words, and I tell you what they are. You can look them up. How many times have you found how many times have you told me you couldn't find something, and I told you exactly what to put, and bam, everything comes up as I said it would, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's hard to find. You just have to know how to word it. And for all of you who are like, well, I know how to do research, obviously you don't if you're still coming to that conclusion. Robert, would you like to answer that one?
I'll let you answer that one, Mr. COVID expert.
Well, I just did the facts and figures, the flat facts and the numbers. Now, was the news lying about COVID? 3/4 of the time, yes. How do I know this? Because I actually looked up the fucking numbers and did the percentages. Unlike the news, which told you what it was, and they were wrong. They fucking switch numbers out on COVID all the time. How many fucking times did I handle the numbers on COVID, Robert?
Like a bunch.
Like what, 3 times a week I did that?
Yeah.
I did it on Facebook. I did it on my podcast. I covered it. Nobody listened. And now that COVID's over, now everybody's shouting about this, that, and the other. It's like, no, y'all are behind. Y'all weren't even fucking looking up the right stuff. Because I literally asked 16 people to check my numbers. All 16 did, including you. You checked my numbers. Were my numbers wrong?
Yeah, I know.
Were my numbers on COVID wrong when I posted them?
No.
They were dead the fuck on, including percentage of death and percentage of infected people. Was that not right?
Yeah, you were right. You were right on COVID, but I'm not sure you're right on the Idaho 4 case.
And just to make this seem a little weirder, for Twizzle, who made the COVID comment, I'm guessing, right? I'm bad at math. I'm horrible at math. The figures I did on COVID took me 3 hours to come up with. I'm that bad at math. Robert is faster at math than me.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't wrong. So for all of you who are like, well, now we need to go see your channel, see how it's done. if you're doing enough independent research. And the first few podcasts I did and tried to list references, there were so many fucking references that my hands got cramps. My wife had to type those out, and then I stopped listing references because people, I can't find this. You're not looking in the right place if you're not finding it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't put anything out that was hard to find.
No.
On my podcast, everything is easy to find because I can actually tell you how to do it, and you'll find it. Like for all of you who were wanting to know how I go about doing research. Me and Robert were having a talk about the efficacy of face masks. I said I was wanting to know about the actual efficacy of face masks because I want to know how big the holes were in the face masks, right?
Yeah.
I looked it up. Boy, I wasn't expecting that. I looked it up, and I was like, those holes got to be bigger than COVID by 3 times. And when I went ahead and looked it up, I was looking to be made wrong. That's because I actually do tell the truth sometime, Twizzle Stick. They do tell threads of truth. You just have to know where to look for them. But the COVID ended up being 3 times smaller than a hole in a mask. Even if it's surrounded by water, it's still smaller than the hole in that mask. So when you start breathing and you get the mask wet and you breathe until it goes dry again, what's happening to all those germs? You tell that to the CDC. For a virus that had a 98% survivability, or no, it was, what was it, 99.2% survivability rate? Y'all can look up the numbers. I'm not looking that shit up. I already covered that. It's a dead subject to me. I was right. Mainstream media was wrong. But then again, I actually looked the information up myself, and it was readily available on Google every day. So, would you like to cover any other subject with the with this Kohberger nonsense that you seem to cleave so clingishly?
Wonder Woman. I don't want to find your podcast burpee.
I'm drinking beer. I don't give a shit. I'm a guest here doing a podcast. So if they don't like the fact that I'm burping, piss off. Like I care. I worked today. I sweat for 6 of the 8 hours I was at work. So like I give a shit.
Okay, now, you and I talked about the about the 8 hour gap, right?
We've briefly talked about it a few times. Yes.
I want to hear in your own opinion, if you were in the house that night and you saw somebody walking by your door, would you have called 911 right then, or would you have waited freaking 8 hours to call 911?
No, that depends. If I'm drunk and fucking stoned, I ain't doing shit. I'm gonna fall the fuck back to sleep. Cause this is college. This is the time to get high and drunk.
No, here's the thing though. We have
I'm listening.
we have the supposed basically it's a generic non-description of somebody 5'10" or taller, athletically built, not muscular, bushy eyebrows. If she was drunk and high like you stated, exactly why would she give a statement like that to the lead investigator in the probable cause affidavit?
Have you been high?
It's been a long time.
Have you been high?
Yeah.
Now, I recall way back in the day, we were, you'd bothered getting high watching a DVD while I was over at your house.
Yeah.
And we watched a movie together, and it wasn't a gay thing. It was just two guys watching a movie and smoking cigarettes. He got high, I got drunk, and I asked him what he thought about the movie. He asked me what I thought of the movie. I told him it was absolute garbage. He said, no, he doesn't remember it being garbage. It was an awesome movie. We then both rewatched that movie sober. Do you remember what your opinion was of that movie when we watched it sober?
Garbage.
We watched 30 minutes of that fucking movie, and you threw that bitch across the house. Did you not?
Yeah.
So, can getting high affect your ability to recall certain things correctly? Yes, absolutely. We both know it. And if you're really high, if you're really high, you're gonna open your eyes. Oh, there's them dude with a mask on with bushy eyebrows. You're not gonna give a shit. You're too high to fucking respond.
She was standing at the door when she saw this person with her door cracked open. Standing there at the door, because she opened the door 3 times that night. And first time, she said she heard what
that
she
sounds
thought.
that sounds like a made up narrative. That literally sounds like a made up narrative.
That's in the probable cause affidavit. That DM, which is Dylan Mortensen, stated that she opened her door for the first time after she thought she heard the sounds of Kaylee saying there's someone
So then
here.
what do you attribute an 8-hour difference for then, if not drunk and high?
There's got to be something going on in that. You're
It sounds like you're trying to make something out of it that isn't even there. The closest thing I can approximate is being drunk or high. At least I'm offering a plausible explanation, not some outlandish theory. How many people do drugs and alcohol when they're in fucking college? A lot of them. That's what college is there for. Fuck. Right?
Yeah, and then explain to me this: why one of the roommates lawyered up as soon as she was questioned by the FBI, by the local police, by the state police. She lawyered up and moved out of the state of Idaho and went back to Nevada.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to be associated with this case either, most likely. But I can't give you an explanation because I'm not her.
Well, she was living in the house at the time.
Would you want to live in a house that BTK murdered somebody in?
Probably not.
And why is that?
Because it would.
If you had been in the house when BTK murdered some people, would you want to stay there anymore?
More likely, probably not.
Occam's razor. That's all I can tell you on that one. I don't know what her mindset was. I don't know what she saw. I can't tell you how she felt. I can't tell you what she thought. But I wouldn't, if I'd witnessed somebody walking in the house and all of a sudden discovered 4 people were murdered, I'd get the fuck out of there and stay the fuck away myself. Unless I actually fought the guy and unmasked him, and then I would stay because it's my responsibility.
Okay, well, explain.
Right?
Yeah, well, explain to me this. You have one lone individual going into a house of 6, not knowing anybody in the house might be up. He goes straight upstairs to.
Oh, now it's a him.
Huh?
Now it's a him. You interjected the him part.
Well, it could.
This person,
we all know it's
or
a him
they
because
entered.
this person is 6 foot. This person is 5'10" or taller.
I know, but you're changing this is a bit of a play on the pronoun game. In this case, them or they would be appropriate because you don't know who that person was, male or female, right?
Yeah. Okay. They walked in through the back sliding glass door, went straight upstairs to Maddie's room, killed her. But now explain to me this. Why did Kaylee get it worse than Maddie? Kaylee's wounds were more brutal than Maddie's wounds. Explain to me
Maybe she
that.
woke up. Maybe she woke up. Maybe whoever did it, if we want to go with that narrative, whoever did it had been watching them from afar. It's not the only time in history it's happened.
Wow, watching them from afar.
Yep.
Because
Like, do you claim to know what BTK's motives were when he killed people? No, you only go by what he said, right?
yeah,
And can you really go on the motives of a psychopath?
no, not really.
And he has already been furnished evidence that he was displaying antisocial behavior, correct?
Yes.
So it's not that far of a leap to say that he was an opportunistic killer, right?
Yeah.
So the leap isn't that far. Just saying it was a person who entered a house. Well, there are plenty of other possibilities.
Yeah. Well, just like Janet Hugerich said, Xana and Ethan were the first victims. Well, we don't know if they were the first victims because in the indictment it states Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xander Canola, then Ethan Chapin. So it states Maddie and Kaylee as the first two, and then Ethan and Xana as the last two.
And if I remember correctly, they were all supposed to be asleep.
Yes, but Xana was actually awake, and she was on TikTok, and she had a DoorDash order that night.
And there comes the but.
Huh?
You put a but in there, meaning you have doubts yourself.
Oh, I have doubts that they were all asleep because it even states in the probable cause affidavit by one of the lead investigators that Xana was awake because of the forensic download of her phone stated she was awake and active on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. and she received a DoorDash. So mind you, you have a coroner here who's not actually a coroner because they do all their autopsies not there in Moscow, but over in Spokane, Washington.
Why wouldn't they just send it to Boise? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
I know that's. Yeah, they don't send it to. They have this working relationship with Spokane, Washington. So, and the coroner is actually a former lawyer and former registered nurse.
Well, going on a stretch, a former registered nurse could possibly do a coroner's report if they had proper training in that. I'm not saying that person did. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility that they could, because it's been done before.
Yeah. Like Twizzler just said, Boise is 5 hours away, while Spokane is 1.5 to 2 hours away.
But you're still going to send that beyond state lines, and in most cases like that, they tend to keep it within state.
Yeah, but apparently Moscow,
I'm
Idaho.
just pointing that out.
I know. Apparently Moscow, Idaho don't do that. They have a working relationship with Spokane, Washington, and the autopsies were done in Spokane, along with the toxicology and the pathology.
The toxicology should have been done within 3 hours, if not less than that.
The autopsies weren't conducted for 2 weeks.
Okay, that leaves a lot of room for doubt as far as the autopsy results go, because if they had illicit substances in their blood, it would have all been gone by then. They dissolve in time. And in that kind of time, yeah, even George Floyd would have seemed like a perfect angel, not high on anything at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, even the coroner in this case has stated the toxicology reports don't matter.
Well, you said it was how long before they did a toxicology?
2 weeks.
Okay. If somebody you knew were murdered and they didn't do an autopsy for 2 weeks, would you trust the outcome of those autopsy results?
No.
Why not?
Because it leads to more skepticism in the case. Why wait?
I'm not saying this whole case was handled properly or improperly, but waiting 2 weeks to do a toxicology report, the toxicology should have been done the same damn day, not waited for 2 damn weeks.
Now, see, mind you, and here's also the thing. The coroner didn't go out to the home or didn't go out to the crime scene until 5 o'clock that evening.
The day of.
The day of, yes.
So you're talking 13 hours.
Yeah. You had.
In that case, you have to take the toxicology report and.
Yeah, you had the police who showed up.
You need to have that toxicology done within, I think it's 3 to 5 hours for it to be accurate.
Yeah,
and then waiting 2 weeks to do a toxicology report eliminates a whole lot of things because you did it so late. If they had done drugs, it would have been gone by then.
Yeah, mind you, you had the officers arrive on scene at noon after the 911 call was made. The 911 call was made at 11:56, and the killings took place around 4 a.m. So that's where get the 8 hour gap.
I recall them saying something about a party being there that night.
No, that night, the Maddie and Kaylee was at a bar in Moscow. Zan and Ethan were at a sorority party at the fraternity. A fraternity party at the fraternity. One of the roommates, Bethany or BF, was a witness to them being there. Now, this is where it gets skewed. You have two different things that go along with that. There's people that say that they were there from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then there's Bethany stating they were there from 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m. You have Xana's dad stating that he had talked to Xana at the house at midnight and they were eating pizza.
Okay. So they were all four were at different parties.
Yes.
And we don't know what was in there, what they imbibed or inhaled. Mm-hmm. So we don't know if they were higher than shit or drunker than a dodo.
No, we know and we know Maddie was drunk that night because they were at a bar in downtown Moscow called the Corner Club. Because they're after the bar, they went to this like food truck called the Grub Truck, and you could clearly see Maddie was intoxicated, and they were with a male chaperone by the name of Jack S. And they had called a private driver to take them home from the grub truck, but Maddie had got into an altercation with somebody there at the grub truck, and turned around and told him to F you, F off, something like that. The private driver, instead of waiting for them to get inside the house, he dropped them off and then just took off.
Well, you're saying private driver like it's an Uber or something, correct?
Uber. Yeah, almost like an Uber.
Is the Uber driver required to wait until they're inside the house before they leave?
Being the nice thing, when two young
No,
female students.
I'm not asking about the niceties. I'm asking, are they required to watch two passengers get out and watch them go in before leaving? Are they required to do that?
No.
So that blows that all to hell. Doesn't matter what you think of the driver or not. You have to throw his testimony out because obviously what if they were attacked at the door? Just saying. I'm not saying that they were, but the Uber driver isn't required to watch them go into where they're going to.
Yeah. Now explain to me this: why they found 3 unknown male DNAs in the house, and the state is refusing to have them tested.
Again, alluding back to my comment that there was reportedly a party at that house before the murder.
Yeah, because I've seen some of the body cams. You would have the Moscow police come out for for noise complaints and stuff like that, and there would be fraternity guys in the house partying when none of the other roommates were home.
Yeah.
Because the house it sets on Greek. Before they tore it down, it sat on Greek Row, and one of the cops made the statement that we know this is an off-campus sorority home. I've been a cop for 22 years. I'm not stupid. So, that was an off-campus sorority home. But what I can't figure out is why the university itself, for the last, couple of years has been trying to distance itself from this horrific murder. Like whenever the university talked to the news, in their off-campus home, or it was in their off-campus home. Like they didn't want to touch what happened on their campus.
Well, it wasn't on campus.
It was on Greek Road.
Is that on campus?
I've never seen how big the U of I campus is.
No, I said, is the housing on campus?
Oh, a Greek Row? I don't think not.
Well, the house certainly fucking wasn't. I already read up on that, and yeah, it states that it was off-campus housing. So, yeah, why you can get away with distancing yourself from that. If it was on campus, not so easy to do, right?
Yeah.
There goes that.
But now here's another thing. They built.
Oh, I'm waiting. Come on, bring it.
They built a healing garden, and and it was supposed to be on the site of where the unalivings took place. And you have the two surviving triplets, Maisie and Hunter Chapin, said that they didn't want it built on the 1122 site because it would be a reminder of what their brother went through in the House of Horrors. So they built it on
A
campus.
healing garden.
Yeah, a healing garden.
A healing garden.
Yeah.
To me, that just sounds stupid.
What? A healing garden? Yeah.
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 You tear the house down and make it a garden. If you're going to believe in the supernatural and believe their spirits are still there, then a healing garden does nothing except comfort a bunch of slow-minded people, right?
Yeah. And so they built it there on the campus, and if you look at it, the healing garden is not very big at all. Yeah, with the money that they took in for donations for it, all it really is the names of the victims, Kaylee, Maddie, Zan, and Ethan.
So where the rest of the money goes in?
That's where I'd like to know.
I'm not saying there's any weird collusion at all. I'm just asking a simple, flat fact question. Where did the money go? It doesn't take... I mean, how much money did they get for that thing?
I can't remember. I saw it earlier. I just can't remember.
Wow, you're behind on a number. What the hell? I'm waiting for one of your peanut gallery members to pop up and say how much it was.
Hey, Swamp, how much was the money that they got for the healing garden? Oh, and Tell It to L ask, where's all the money going? Did Maddie flush that too?
Made it sound like she had shrooms in her bag or some shit.
No. Well, there's been this thing going on that there's that there was drugs tied to the house, and early on in the case,
There may have been. I don't know about that.
And we've heard that Maddie may have flushed some drugs down the toilet because there's this one thing where they're walking to the grub truck, and it was Maddie, Kaylee, and Jack S. And you heard Jack S say they're going to get you for this, and then Kaylee said, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And Maddie said, I told Adam everything. So I'm still trying to figure out what Jack meant by Maddie. They're going to get you for this.
Well, it narrows down to marijuana, ecstasy, shrooms, or pills. Or possibly fentanyl, because I don't think it was crack or heroin or something that was very, very illicit, because they wouldn't have gone crazy flushing shit down the toilet if it was something like that. They would have, thrown it elsewhere. Weed, shrooms, sure, flush it down the toilet. It'll disappear. There's a very reasonable explanations for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a bunch of pills, if you got a bunch of pills in a baggie and dude tells you they're going to bust you for that, would you flush it down the toilet or throw it away somewhere?
Probably flush it.
Yeah, for me, if it was pills, fucking toss them out in the woods somewhere or wherever. That way they don't get found. Because, weed and shrooms, pat on the wrist, no big deal.
Yeah.
But when you're drunk as shit, you make dumb decisions like that and flush them down the toilet, right?
Now here's the question for you: if there was a drug tied to the house, and Maddie did flush drugs down the toilet, could it have pissed off some drug dealers?
Only if it was a large amount. It has to be over a certain amount for a drug dealer to get pissed. If it's some piddly ass like dime or, anything under like $150, they don't give a shit.
Well, I've been hearing, I've been hearing stuff for like $750K.
Do you really see any of those kids carrying that much shit on them to be worth that much money?
It would more than likely be stored in the house, maybe.
Yeah, but you wouldn't hear that out loud in public. If they're going to bust you with it, you would say that in the house, not out of it, right?
Yeah.
So there goes that theory. I'm just stating the obvious and simplest explanation. Nothing else.
Now, do you believe maybe the house was targeted, not them?
I don't really buy that because that is a blanketed statement, and that would imply that somebody really pissed off somebody who was on the underside of the law, gangster, drug dealer, you name it. And typically, like here, if you actually had $750,000 worth of shit you just flushed or got rid of,
Mhm.
I'd probably be pissed off. But that's a lot of shit to throw away. Even in pills, that's a lot.
I mean, if you look at it, those kids, they weren't poor. Freaking Maddie went out and got not
Yeah,
Maddie.
and have you seen the size of these kids? Have you seen the size of these kids? These were skinny as a rail kids. Can you see one of the girls taping drugs to her tits just to make it look like she wasn't carrying anything? I don't think so.
But I mean, these kids, they're not poor kids because if you look at it, Kaylee, she spent $30,000 on the freaking Range Rover.
Okay, I'm not saying that was an intelligent choice. I never said it was an intelligent choice to begin with. And I don't pay enough attention to know what she bought a car for. I don't know where she got the money. Don't give a shit. But the facts of the case don't point to Kohberger being innocent. With all of them in conjunction, they kind of point directly to him, do they not? You can disagree with me. I don't care. I'm not that involved in this case.
But that still don't. I still don't understand if I'm not saying it was him because I do believe he's innocent.
Yeah.
Why would you let a killer drive cross country?
Why would who let a killer drive across country?
Why would the local police, the Moscow Police Department, let a
according to your information, when did they find out it was Kohberger?
Not till December 29th.
And this happened when?
November 13th.
So there's like what, a month there?
Yes.
Okay. Now to reestablish this, why didn't they arrest him until this day? What day did they announce that they had a DNA match?
December 29th.
So what's that, almost a month and a half later, they finally found DNA linking into Kohberger?
Mm-hmm. Because they got you had the FBI who was apparently watching him there in Pennsylvania, and they got the DNA.
And what do you need to arrest somebody?
Probable cause.
And if you have DNA that links him to a murder scene, what don't you do until you have probable cause?
Know what?
If the police don't have probable cause until they do a DNA test, what, 5-6 weeks after the incident? What do you not do if you don't have probable cause? If you're a cop,
Not arrest somebody.
you can't pull them over and arrest them, right?
Yeah.
And this nonsense of, well, they didn't have DNA, they arrested him because of the DNA. Where's the missing link there? I don't see it. We're going with basic blind logic. You have DNA which leads to him, you track him, or you find out where he is, then you arrest him knowing he's got that. They followed him where?
To Pennsylvania.
After they did the DNA.
Rochelle says, "Oh, I see the missing link."
I'm not sure if that's a reference to me or evidentiary stuff we're talking about now.
Swamp says the science may be flawed, but at least in this case.
I'll give that a half thumbs up for credence of evidence.
But let me see. Here's the thing, though. You have his them taking his father's DNA out of the trash, and that's the only way they linked him to the 1122 King Road is from the father's DNA found in the trash.
Now, why would the father and Kohberger both use gloves when they do anything?
Well, he was a vegan. Well, he was a vegan, and he had OCD.
Vegan doesn't mean shit. OCD might mean something, but Kohberger was noted as wearing gloves on several occasions, as was his father, right?
Yes.
If you're noted as wearing gloves only a short time before the murders happen, and then all the time after, what does that generally lead you to believe?
If he wore the gloves before, yeah. Well, now if he wore the gloves before the murders, well, like Rochelle just said, he was probably a glove guy.
No, he only started wearing them right before the murders. I actually looked. I looked it up and found out he just started wearing them right before the murders and then pretty much all the time after the murders. Just like it was it Kohberger or his father who threw trash away in the neighbor's trash can?
I think it was Kohberger.
So do I. I believe that's what it said. Now, why would he throw trash in the neighbor's can when they had room?
Unless they had a deal with their neighbor, they could throw trash in his trash can.
I'm not thinking that's so, but you can draw that conclusion. I'll buy that for $1. I'll seriously buy that. That's a
L says, Robert Honey, all due respect, we cannot say as a fact that anything we've been told is true.
I actually have to enjoy that comment. I'll give that a thumbs up. And I'm not saying I know the absolute truth, but I'm drawing an educated guess based on what I've seen and heard, and the fact that I'm not following this case like a rabid cat in heat. I'm following this case gradually as it goes along, picking up snippets here and there, and only observing a few things at a time. I'm not rapidly following this case like I'm a cat or a dog in heat in need of getting laid. I am simply an observer, a casual observer, who's not in the crime community, just doing due diligence, and from what I've seen, everything is pointing directly at him. Not his dad, not some imaginary brother, not some dark twin who is a doppelganger. Because a doppelganger with identical DNA would be really stretching credulity, would it not?
Yeah.
And if you guys found this entertaining, which I'm guessing the better part of you probably didn't, I'm glad you found it entertaining. And hopefully you have a little broader out view. There are some things that I didn't know, that I now know, that have changed my opinionation slightly, but that's only on the evidentiary. And that's only because it's not listed. I mean, the stuff I'm saying, I've only picked up from the news, and these are little slivers of information, not like I'm not sitting there staring at CNN wondering where everything is. I'm a casual observer seeing one sliver of truth in the entire stream of information. That's where I'm getting my information from. If it piques my interest, I look into it more, and I don't look at one-sided websites. That's why I don't follow a lot of the true crime community, because a lot of it's slanted, and everybody spends way too much time researching the wrong thing. You have to go out, when you're researching, Robert, do you go out with the intent of proving somebody right or wrong?
More likely sometimes proving somebody wrong.
Okay, I don't have that intent, but you already know that. I don't go out looking to declare somebody wrong right off the bat. I don't have an opinion until there's enough evidence to make an educated guess, right?
Yeah.
And most times, I'm not saying that I'm wrong this time. I'm not saying I'm right this time. But a better part of the time, when I make an educated guess, am I right or wrong on the outcome?
A lot of times you're right. I'm not sure about you being wrong.
I'm willing to say I'm wrong, and we both know I've been wrong on a few occasions, and I'm okay with that. But I tell you exactly where the information is, how to find it, and instead of being just a mouth-breathing idiot throwing out these videos and saying, well, here's the evidence where there is none there, because you've done that a few times, and
Yeah.
I busted your ass about it, have I not?
Yep.
I was like, dude, get back to the facts, not to your opinion of what you think happened. Go back to what did happen and to the information around there, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're free. If you want to believe that Kohberger's innocent, you go ahead and believe that shit with all your might. I am having an open mind. And do you know how I can say that, Robert?
How?
I didn't know they waited almost 6 weeks for a toxicology report. Or no, it was 2 weeks when they did the autopsy and the toxicology, right?
Yeah.
Can we both agree? We can both firmly agree that was way too fucking long to do a toxicology report, right?
Yes.
So there's a little less admissible evidence for the murdered people as to their state of mind and state of body during the murders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that being said, and the coroner being a former registered nurse, which could or could not work out, okay, that's a unique endorsement. But the fact that we both agree on that a former registered nurse did the autopsy and it wasn't the highest the highest standard of a autopsy and toxicology report, and that the toxicology report, you pretty much have to wipe your ass with it and throw it in the toilet, right?
Yeah.
That much we can agree on, right?
Yeah. As well as they shouldn't have torn the house down.
Yeah, we got three things we can solidly agree on that were bad choices and that should have been done, like with tearing the house down, fucking wait until the trial.
Yeah.
And we're going to disagree about the lawyer dragging her knuckles. That way she can get a new venue and a new judge. That I think is bullshit. But we agree on the toxicology, the coroner, and the house being torn down. Those are three solid things that
Yeah.
we can both agree about. Even if we disagree with the outcome of Kohberger's innocence or guilt.
Yeah.
But I think we did a pretty good job of nailing those things. And we can disagree about a lot of things all day. But
Yeah.
those three things we have solid. And I would plug my show, but I'm going to let you do that if you want to. But
And I would suggest to you to go look at the probable cause affidavit, and it also might like the three things that we met that we agree on, as far as the house being torn down and the autopsy, and as well as the toxicology. You might find a few things in there as well that you might agree with. Uh, because I mean, like what 21-year-old says clad in black? I saw, yeah, yeah. He's the person's 5'10" or taller, bushy eyebrows, athletically built, not muscular, clad in black, and had a face mask on that covered his nose and his mouth.
that to me sounds like somebody who's too drunk or too high to get up and do anything about it. They just pass out. That's what
Yeah,
I'm getting out of that being said.
yeah, and
I
she
could
also,
be wrong, but that's
yeah,
what it sounds like to me. A college student who was too high or drunk to do anything about it. So when they passed out and then woke up, then they reported it when they came to.
yeah, and she also, she also, they also state in it that the murders happened between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. and because they got that from the forensic downloads of Dylan and Bethany's phone, as well as the forensic download of Xana's phone, which showed her on the TikTok app from at 4:12, and she got a DoorDash order. And
Okay,
Xana's
might I ask what the TikToks were about, or was that just her watching TikTok?
watching TikToks.
Oh, so she was just being another member of her generation,
Yeah,
staring mindlessly at a phone for a little bit before she passed out, right?
yeah, and she had a DoorDash order and everything, and so it kind of makes you wonder, with the statements that we've heard from the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt, about them all being murdered in their sleep. You have an officer stating that one of them was awake and on her TikTok had DoorDash, and even in the probable cause affidavit, it gives it gives the Kaylee and Maddie as being stabbed to death, and Xana and Ethan having injuries by an edged weapon, and Ethan having sharp force injuries. So, which if you look at the coroner stating they were all stabbed in their sleep, then why would two of them have different injury patterns?
Well, was it the boys who had different injury patterns?
No, it was one of the females, Xana, and her boyfriend Ethan. They both had different injury patterns than Kaylee and Maddie.
Well, it might make sense if you're attacking them from two different points of attack. Like with the girl. She's not. They didn't have any fucking big women there. These are slight, petite, short women, right?
Yes.
So for them, you're only going to have to worry about holding their wrists and stabbing them. I don't know what the injuries were, so I couldn't tell you. But you have to put much less effort into somebody who's small and petite versus a woman who's like 6'3" and a wrestler and breaks your fucking arm for trying to swing at her, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, um, I enjoyed this debate. I think that the community needs to bring some more pertinent information and not just hearsay and want an opinion and slant to it.
Mm-hmm.
I would appreciate if they did that more, because then I might actually be interested in the true crime community podcasting. But I don't see that happening because it's all about grabbing views and keeping people interested in watching your podcast for as long as possible. And a podcast panel that lasts 6 hours, you're begging for people to dump you on your channel. It says all the wrong things. That's why most of my podcasts aren't exceptionally long. 2 hours is, I think, the limit for most of them, is it not?
Yeah.
Anything more than 2 hours, you're begging for people to leave your channel. But this was at least somewhat enlightening, somewhat informative. I hope I've put some seeds in your brain that you'll think about. Like I said, I'm not a true crime podcaster. I'm not part of that whole community. You do you, but remember, you have lives to live. If
Yeah.
this is all you're going to do it well, do it for the right reasons. But for those of you just doing it for popularity and chasing every gunned down person ever, well, you're gonna be chasing a lot of dead ends and ghosts.
Yeah.
And if you believe Kohberger is still innocent, then I would urge you to look at some of the stuff I pointed out. I mean, it's really simple stuff. If you didn't see the picture of the knife sheath with the drop of blood on it from the police photo, look it up. It's not like they erased it. It might be harder for you to find because you're biased and looking up the wrong words, but that isn't anybody's fault but your own, right?
Right.
And yeah, for me, I got to get off here because it's almost time to get ready to go to bed because I have to work in the morning. I have to get
All
up
right.
at
You have a good
6:45
man.
a.m. So
All right.
you guys have fun. You can plug my channel to your viewers, but I'm going to go ahead and get off here, all right?
All right. You have a good night, man.
Yep. Have fun. Hope I changed your mind. I hope I changed your outlook just a skosh.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, guys, what did you think of the skeptical Scotsman? Yeah, Tennille, I understand. Yes, L. He is Scottish, Irish, German, and he's got Viking in him. Yes, he is passionate, Kiki. Yep, Toes. He's just a person with an opinion. No, he didn't. He didn't dual stream Wanda. And I think you know what. I think I know what you meant too. He's not. He doesn't do true crime. He does like other stuff. Yeah, I mean he's done the Derek Chauvin trial. He's done political stuff. Yeah, Wonder Woman. I know. The truth is, we as an audience haven't been presented any solid facts to say BK is guilty. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, it's hard to believe, guys. I've known him for um, a little over 25 years. Yeah, we were confusing him with PCA and court document facts. Viking, you can tell. If you have if you have to resort to name calling, then you have lost the argument. Yep. All I've seen in lies was poo poo and withholding info by the prosecution. Yep. Yeah, that's Wanda. That's why I wanted to do this tonight. I didn't skip you. Robert, you should make a video showing all the things he did wrong. Yeah, that's funny, guys. Well, you're welcome, Wanda. I hope I hope that I did a good stream for you guys tonight. Yeah, Wanda, 25 years. So how did I so how did you guys enjoy the stream tonight, even though I had a pompous asshole up here? Yeah. Well, I'm glad I did that, L. Thank you. Now, do you guys think I should have him on again later down the line?
He's like, you woke me up. This better be good. You're like, you woke me up. It better be good. He was snoring too.
Swamp says hi, Tamara.
Huh?
Swamp says hi, Tamara.
Hi. He's like, this better be good. That you woke me up out of my sleep. He was snoring by my head.
Okay.
I'm hungry, honey. You made him yawn.
Well, thank you, Elle. You do whatever you'd like, Robert. We support you. Jim, he's a Chiweenie.
Tweenie/Chihuahua.
That's a Chiweenie, honey.
Tweenie/Chihuahua.
Swamp says thank you, Tamara.
Look at this. Look, he's like, I want to be on camera again.
Yeah. Mavitt said they contract Spokane for autopsies. But exactly why would they do that though, Patricia? Swamp says thank you, please.
Huh?
Swamp said thank you.
You're welcome. I gotta give him more dogs if they're out. Out of dog food. You guys are out of dog food. Here you go. Here you go. You guys are dog food.
Yeah, I understand, Jeff. It's because of my friend you had to leave. Thank you, Jeff. I again applaud you for taking on what surely wasn't an easy live stream to tackle yet. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Jeff, it was. It wasn't a live stream. There was people leaving chat for exactly how abrasive he was. You're welcome, Kiki. Me. Let me pull up an outro. Find it. I'll try to pull up. Yep, that is certainly true, Jim. Here's something I'm pretty. Here's something I'm pretty sure. Uh, here's an outro I'm pretty sure Jeff H might like.